Welcome to the Faith Fueled Marriage Podcast. We're so excited to have you guys with us today, and we are so excited about today's message series. We are actually doing a recap from our church on a message series called Love Killers, and we were very excited about this because it just aligns very well with what has been on our hearts and marriages.
So when that was announced, we were excited because, again, it's called Love Killers. And we were excited because it literally aligns, like you said, exactly with what we're trying to do. We're trying to build stronger, Christ-centered marriages because we know the stronger the marriage,
the stronger the family.
So we were just really excited to jump into that one. So we also learned that you cannot do, because it was a 5-week series, and you cannot fit a 5-week series into a 45-minute or an hour podcast episode. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break it up. It's going to be Love Killers Recap Part 1, and then we're going to do Part 2. So today we're going to do week 1 and week 2 of that series, and then we'll do the next episode we record is going to be 3, 4, and 5, and we'll try to cram it all in there and give you guys the cliff notes on that. So take some notes, whatever you guys are doing, just listen along, and we'll jump into week 1. And week 1, we learned that small patterns over time can quietly destroy the relationship that matters the most, which is, second most, because the most important would be our relationship with God.
Yeah.
And then second would be between
your
you
marriage.
and I and your spouse. So some small patterns repeated over time can quietly destroy one of the relationships that matter the most. In this first week, we learned to identify these patterns, and we learned how to replace them with ones that make love last. So Pastor Craig from Life.Church, that's where we attend. He started off and he said, no one plans to have their marriage destroyed. We say this a lot too. Like nobody, you court each other through dating. You go into, you propose, and you're engaged, and no one, and you're making your life plans and stuff. Nobody goes into it and is like, you know what? In 5 to 10 years, I'm gonna just
Ruin it all.
Yeah, we're gonna just ruin this thing. like nobody plans on doing that.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things that happens slowly over time. And what he said was, it's because somebody stops going first. So nowadays it's a little weird with dating and stuff like that. And I'm so happy we don't have to be in the dating world right
Thank
now.
you, Jesus.
But, excuse me. But, back in the day, you were courting each other and someone, and I mean, they still do it now, but it's a little different.
It's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what he said was, at the beginning, you're trying to go first in a sense of you're trying to make the first to make that phone call, or the first to set up the plans, the first you're courting them. You're always trying to you're always that person's on your mind.
Them.
Yeah. You're trying to you're pursuing them and you're courting them. And what he said was, so at the beginning, you're the first. Someone's always going first, right? The first to call. You're the first to set up the dates. Again, like you said, you're pursuing them and you're courting them, because that's what love does before we get selfish. Then we start to get comfortable, and we start to take each other for granted.
Yep.
So one day you find yourself waking up with the person that you thought you literally couldn't live without. And now you're just literally going through the motions and trying to get by with that very same person. And what he said was, if you can relate to that, or you're thinking, man, I need my spouse to hear this, that's exactly what we're talking about here. Because selfishness is the root of all relationship problems. Like, really think about that. Selfishness has been in us since the beginning.
Yeah.
First with Adam and Eve, with their relationship with God, and second within their marriage. And you say this a lot. You say pride can be sneaky, but also selfishness can be sneaky.
Yeah.
So here, what we learned in this first week was there's 3 main ways that selfishness shows up in our lives and in our marriage. So, number one, if you're taking notes, write this down because this one's important. Selfishness keeps score. That's like I did this, so you need to do that, or you did that, so I need to do this. You got to let it go.
Yeah.
Life is too short. Stop holding on to everything. Keeping score has never built a better marriage, and it won't make you more intimate, and it won't make you more fruitful.
No.
Again, keeping score, remember that, never built a better marriage. Keeping score has never built a better marriage.
I think it's a very applicable way that we keep score in this season, having a home.
Yeah.
If you and your spouse both work, you're both exhausted, let's be honest. So we can come home and say, I just took out the trash. He needs to take out the trash now. I just did the dishes. He needs to do the dishes now. Do not have that mindset.
No. Because honestly, it's perfect. Like you just led up to it perfectly. Every time you do that, you're playing a game. And in a game, you have a winner and a loser. But in marriage, if one of you loses, you both lose. So you have to keep that perspective.
Yeah.
You're
a team.
Yeah. And even look to what the famous love chapter that Paul says in 1 Corinthians, love is patient, love is kind. And then he goes on to, love keeps no records of wrongs.
Yeah.
Love keeps no record of wrongs. So keeping score has never, ever built a better marriage.
No.
So don't keep score. Number two, selfishness withholds. I liked Pastor Craig said this one. He did the imaginary when if him and Amy have any kind
Fight.
of conflict or argument or whatever the situation is, he does the imaginary. Remember that story that he was saying with the imaginary line,
in the bed,
and he you want to tell? He puts a line in
He puts a line in the bed, and it's funny because we all do it, and you're like, oh, that sounds childish, but let's be honest, we all act like children.
And he goes back.
Upset.
It's playing a game again, and it's not a game.
So when he and his wife are going to bed, there's an imaginary line in the middle of the bed, and he will not cross it.
Like he won't put anything.
It's enemy territory.
And then he's trying to make her apologize first, right? Or, and he said he won't apologize first. That's like pride again, right?
Yes, 100%. And we all do it.
And that's honestly what that is that selfishness starting to take root right there. And it's a game, and it shouldn't be played because, again, it's not a game. And like I said, it goes back to going first. Like, hey, be the first to apologize. Be the first to open that door for that communication.
Yeah.
Swallow your pride and communicate, one of the verses that I love, I love James, the half-brother of Jesus. And he says in James 4, if anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. And I when he was talking on this message, I also thought it goes back to what we say a lot too, is if you think something nice, say it. Yeah, exactly. Don't ever withhold your spouse of that blessing.
Yeah.
Because it could be life-changing. And going back to James, if you know the good you ought to do and you don't do it, it is sin. And when he said that, I was like, what? But it's actually true because it's actually sin. And sin isn't just the wrong thing you do. It's the right thing you stop doing. And honestly, that's where most marriages start to die. But the good news is it's not too late. So stay tuned. Number 3, selfishness demands. It demands its own way. Selfishness is about my comfort and my preferences and my wants and me. But in reality, it's not about me. It's we. Two became one, right? Cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. The moment you start asking, what about me, more than what about us, that's where you're already on a losing track. So he called us to be alert and be sober-minded because society is continually conforming you for selfishness. Social media is not built around godliness.
No.
It's all about me.
Not
it's
at
trying
all.
to bring you up and right?
Even our TV shows.
Everything.
Yeah. Guard your heart, guard your mind.
Right. 100%. So yeah, the whole social media algorithm is not built to It's not built on holiness and godliness, put it that way.
No.
Not at all.
No.
You can trick your algorithm into just constantly trying to feed you that stuff, but even
eventually
then, that
come.
stuff will sneak in there. Yeah. But yeah, it's literally, like you said, TV shows, media in general. It's teaching us to be selfish, unfortunately, and I think it's another reason that we're even doing this now.
Yeah.
Like this whole marriage podcast thing, is to go against the grain.
Yeah.
And a beautiful depiction is in The Chosen. If anyone watches The Chosen, I love that. Where the fish, it's swimming. Everyone's going one way, and you go the opposite way. You're swimming upstream when everyone else is going downstream.
Yeah.
And that's what we're called to do as Christ followers.
And you're gonna look different, and sometimes it may seem extreme, but that's the enemy's whole goal, is to make you feel like, oh, I'm being different. This is weird. Well, you shouldn't look like the world if you're truly honoring and following Jesus and loving your spouse.
No, 100%. So he also, this is a little side note. So he said, if you are dating, you have to call it what it is, and don't lie to yourself, because this is a really good one right here. Selfishness doesn't go away with a ring. Just because you put a ring on someone doesn't mean if you see those red flags at the beginning when you're dating, when it's supposed to be the quote unquote like pre-honeymoon phase, essentially.
Yeah.
If you're seeing red flags then, dude,
you
gotta, yeah.
Kids will amplify.
You have blinders. I know.
Yeah.
Well, we all know from personal experience. You have blinders on when you're in that phase, and you're just like, no. And people listen to the people that are around you too, right?
Yeah.
Like close people, family members, and close friends. If they see red flags when you're dating, you just think just because all of a sudden you put a ring on it, everything's gonna change. No. It's probably just going to magnify it and get worse.
It will, because life can be such a blessing, but with more in your life, children, work, bills, all of these things, the water gets hotter.
Yeah. No, 100%. So Pastor Craig says, so knowing those three, what do we do about that? What are we going to do? He said, this selfishness, our fleshly desires, they're literally within us. So how do we combat it? We don't beat it with willpower. You can't do it on your own. The only way to do it is to literally just surrender.
Yeah.
And you surrender to the Heavenly Father, and we ask the Holy Spirit, our adversary, to guide us and lead us. That's the only way, really.
Yeah.
So, and then this was a good one. Check out what Paul says in Philippians 2, verse 3 and 4. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. That's literally what we've been talking. That's the key to marriage.
Yeah.
Not looking to your own interests, but to the interests of others. In humility, lift others up. In this case, we're talking about our spouse.
Yeah.
Value others, value your spouse above yourself, not because they deserve it, but because we look to Christ. And that's what love does.
That's so good.
Right? If you want to have a relationship that's different than what we see in this world, you have to have a different mindset in this world. It kind of reminds me of Romans 12:2. That's another verse that I just, I wear that on my wrist just to remind me I have to think different than the world thinks. If you want to be different, you got to think different.
Yeah.
It starts in your mind. Serve your spouse above your own needs and desires, and look to Christ. Watch what Paul says also further in Philippians 2, referring to Christ. This is it's a deep verse too. He's talking about Jesus, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant. Serve your spouse above your own needs. Being made in human likeness and being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself, which we're called to do every single day because pride is sneaky. And if you don't, pride will take over and selfishness will take over. He humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even to the cross. You can feed your selfishness or your relationship, but you cannot feed both.
And don't believe the lie that selfishness is going to make you happy.
Yeah.
because that's a big
It's
lie.
actually it's gonna make you miserable.
It's going to make you miserable.
Maybe slowly over time.
You're
but
slowly choosing death. You're slowly pushing away everyone around you. Do you want to be alone? Do you want to? It's better to give than receive. And when that becomes easier is when you have a better relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
Lord, you are my portion. Fill me. This is hard because...
Let the Holy Spirit guide you.
Yeah. Be honest. Lord, this is hard. I know you're calling me to love them, but this stinks right now. So please just help me be obedient to you. Mm-hmm. And he will. He's going to fill you up. He's going to empower you to do it.
Right.
And pray for your spouse to have a softened heart and reciprocate that.
100%. So ultimately, you have a choice. And that's where there's hope. That's where the game changer is right there. He did mention this, and I think I'll just say this because he said the caveat is don't be a doormat. Don't endure physical abuse, emotional or mental. That's literally like an entirely different conversation.
Yeah.
And for most of the people just, listening here, if the relationship's in a bad spot, it's because for most of us, we let selfishness take root and slowly it began to take over the relationship. So break down selfishness and watch your relationship be blessed beyond anything you can ever imagine. He called out the men specifically. Love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave every bit of himself for her. Jesus did that not only when it was easy, but when it cost him everything. And if you look back at the Philippians verse, that's exactly what it said. So, and in Ephesians 5, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. So here's the assignment for week 1, the recap. The assignment for week 1 for both men and women, every day, do one thing first. That's the assignment. Every day, do one thing first. Be the first to put down the device. Speaking to myself, because I know I get home and I'm just like, after work, I'm just like exhausted and I'll just aimlessly scroll. And sometimes I just feel like so empty after that. I'm like, dude, this is so dumb. What am I searching for as I'm sitting here? And meanwhile, the little dudes are running around and my kids are running around and I'm just like, dude, put the device down, like just stop. Look into your spouse's eyes and engage in meaningful conversation. Be the first to apologize. Even if you're like so sure that you're right, just humble yourself. Just apologize. Be the first to listen. Every day, that's your assignment. Do one thing first. Selfishness says, what about me? But love says, what about you? And eventually, it'll say, what about us? If you're waiting for your spouse to do it, that's selfishness, right?
Yeah.
You went first before when you were dating.
Yeah.
You went first before. And then even in your marriage, you went first again. Maybe nothing happened. But guess what? Go first again.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Also, ask the Holy Spirit to show you when you're being selfish.
Yeah.
Because he will.
That's exactly how we're going to wrap this up. Look to the greatest example in all areas of life. But specifically here, as it relates to selfishness, look to and learn from Christ. And that's how we wrap up week 1. Just a couple little quick recap on it, because I always like to do that. Selfishness can creep into your relationship very sneakily. Is that a word?
Yep.
Sneakily?
It is now.
We just added to the dictionary in a very sneaky way. 3 ways selfishness keeps score. Do not keep score. Okay? Selfishness withholds. Do not withhold from your spouse. And selfishness demands. You can feed your selfishness or you can feed your relationship, but you cannot feed both. You choose. So that was a recap of week 1 in the Love Killers series. And I'm going to pass it along to Jenny, and she's going to recap week 2 of Love Killers.
Yes. So week 1, we learned selfishness is the root of all relationship problems, right? And that segues perfectly into week 2. So selfishness starts the problem and neglect eventually kills it. So you love each other, but somewhere along the way, you stopped really talking. You stopped pursuing. You stopped going first. You stopped showing up the way you used to. So this week we're going to talk about how to find your way back to one another, because nothing you neglect gets better. I'm going to say that again. Nothing you neglect gets better. So let's put it in an applicable example. You stop taking care of your body. What's going to happen? You stop pursuing a relationship with God. What's going to happen? Same thing with your family. Stop pursuing your family. What's going to happen? And the same thing with marriage. Nothing you neglect gets better. So whatever you stop feeding eventually starts dying, right?
Yeah, like just like you said, we we like, working out and trying to stay healthy. If you just stop feeding your body that healthy nutrients, what's going to happen?
It's going to die.
It's going to eventually,
Yeah.
I mean, we're all going to die, but you're just going to make it happen way quicker.
Yeah. It's not going to thrive. It's not going to flourish, right? So most relationships don't die from conflict as we think they do.
Yeah.
They die from neglect, right? So Proverbs 24:30 through 34, stick with me. I'm going to read it first and I'll break it down for us. Proverbs 24:30 through 34 says, I went past the field of a sluggard, past the vineyard of someone who has no sense. Thorns had come up everywhere. The ground was covered with weeds. Picture this in your mind. And the stone wall, the wall around the vineyard which protects it, was in ruins. I applied my heart to what I observed and learned lessons from what I saw. What lesson did we learn? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief, and scarcity like an armed man. So what did the sluggard do? The sluggard didn't plan to destroy his vineyard. He just neglected it, right? So a little bit of neglect, and it's almost unnoticeable at first.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Proverbs in itself is like awesome because
good.
it's just like so much wisdom from Solomon. But I always use that verse, and you know this, when I was feeling like I'd have to get up early for work in the morning, and I would use this verse, be like, "Come on, you lazy, go, get up and go. Don't be lazy because this is what's going to happen."
Yeah.
So that's what's so cool. That's what's so cool about the Bible, and it's alive and it's active, and you can read that same. And I never thought of this verse in the context that like now you're about to talk about it, because I always just use it as in terms for laziness for myself. It was just like a little motivation, like get up and get at them, go. Like don't be lazy. You gotta provide.
Do what you're called to do.
Yeah. Which it is saying that, but then also you're gonna now go into a different context of it that I never even realized. Which that's why the Bible's so cool.
So cool.
Yeah,
I love it. In every season of life too, you can read something like a chapter of the Bible. You go back 3 years later and read it.
It's completely different, right?
It's completely
That's
different.
why it's alive and active.
Alive
it speaks
and
to you
active.
in every season, no matter what season you're in, it can speak to you. You just have to surrender and open your heart to it.
And he can speak anywhere. It doesn't matter really where you are in the Bible. That's what's so cool about it. Literally, it's alive and active. But Proverbs is amazing. So if you get a chance, go through the book of Proverbs 100%.
Definitely. You'll gain a lot of wisdom.
Yep. So let's also break down in Proverbs 24. What does the field mean? It says, I went past the field of a sluggard. The field represents what you need today. So what does your marriage need today? And then it goes on to say, past the vineyard of someone who has no sense. They have no sense. The vineyard is what you're building for tomorrow. So you're neglecting.
So it's the current and then it's the future.
Those healthy habits for your marriage, you're neglecting them. So your future marriage.
Are you feeding it?
Yeah. Or are you neglecting it, right? So are those weeds and those thorns coming up? And then the stone wall, again, the stone wall is a protection of your marriage. There's so many cool examples of walls in the Bible, and Jesus is our wall, right? The wall of fire around us. He protects us from everything. But what in your marriage are you not setting healthy boundaries and protecting? Date nights,
That's a big one for us.
That's a big one.
We've said that before.
Yeah.
So,
Pursuing your spouse, going first. Don't neglect it, right? So neglect feels slow, but the consequences feel sudden. I'm going to say that again. It feels slow. It's not a big deal. I've been busy. I've been working all day. I'm exhausted. I just want to sit here and aimlessly do nothing. Okay, one day turns into two. And that's both sides. You're at work all the time. I'm with the kids all the time. We're both exhausted on our own terms, right? So neglect one day turns into two, turns into a week, turns into a month. So it feels slow.
And it's one of those things where all of a sudden you look back and you said, how in the world did we get to this point?
Because consequences feel sudden.
We didn't do anything. We're not at each other's throat. We're not doing this. It's almost like slowly over time. But then suddenly you're like, oh.
We thought we were living a peaceful life.
Yeah.
We weren't fighting, but you weren't pursuing one another. And what you value, you pursue, right? Mm-hmm. So Song of Solomon's 2:15 says also, catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyard. The vineyard is your future, right? Our vineyards that are in bloom. They're in bloom. They're getting ready to produce a harvest, okay? But there's these little foxes that are coming in and destroying your future, your vineyard.
Think of what a fox is always depicted as in like the cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
It's always like, what are they, like that little sly fox, right? Isn't that?
He's kind of cute.
He's just like a little fox. He's not scary like a lion or a tiger or a bear. He's just this little fox that just sneaks his way in and steals what he needs to steal. And gets
slowly. So we'll dive more into that. But neglect isn't just doing nothing. Sometimes it's doing the wrong thing really well, right? So what are the little foxes that seem harmless? But they actually are harmless, right? So a good example, just honestly for all of us, right, who has smartphones and this AI and all of these really cool things that are coming out, but we are spending way too much time on it. And you cannot spend 2 hours on your phone at night and then 2 minutes with your spouse.
And expect it to flourish. And
you can't do it.
Be fruitful.
No. And also, too, if you're dating and you're wondering if you're being prioritized, if you're wondering, there's probably a reason you're wondering, right?
Yeah.
If you don't feel treasured now in the quote-unquote honeymoon phase, odds are it's not going to go up later, right?
A ring isn't going to make it change.
No. So
as much as you think it is, it's not.
Yeah.
It's going to, like we said earlier in this episode, it's going to magnify it.
Yeah.
It's just going to make it, it's just going to get 10 times worse or more, you know?
Yeah. So sometimes to the people dating, sometimes we do have to make tough decisions. But I tell you now, if you're seeing the red flags and the people you love around you are also, be grateful.
Yeah.
And
thank God for that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Be wise. Because the Lord loves you. The Lord is going to provide a spouse. Pray, Lord, please give me a spouse that honors you and loves you, and together we can honor you better together than apart. And man, that marriage, you're going to say, thank you, Jesus, for allowing me to be obedient, for strengthening me to walk away what wasn't meant for me and stepping into what you're calling me to do. So if you're in that season and that hits you in some type of way, don't ignore it, okay? So because the neglect doesn't get better with the ring. So watch for the little foxes. And this next one honestly convicts me. One of the most dangerous foxes aren't bad. It's something you love deeply. It's your children, right? You're called to steward your children, pour into your children, right? They're a blessing from the Lord. They're an inheritance from the Lord, right? And it feels right just pouring into them. But there needs to be boundaries, because if there's not boundaries, it's wrong and it's dangerous. And it's not even the best way to love your kids, right? Yeah. So there's a difference between child loving and child living. Culture teaches you to live, your whole life circles around your child.
What does that do for the child?
Yep. So that's not loving your child. That's not showing them reality. You know, they're going to think the whole world revolves around them.
And there's a lot of kids that are growing up and going into the workforce right now.
Yeah.
And that's their mentality.
Yeah.
And the parents thought that it stinks because the parents thought they were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But it just created this self-centered. Do you know?
You know what? Yeah.
And the real world doesn't
love them the way mommy loves them.
And
no.
they don't care about your feelings in that sense.
Yeah.
They just want. Unfortunately, it's a results-driven world.
And you're also not teaching them how to prioritize their own marriage when the time comes.
Correct.
They're going to repeat what they've seen. It's going to be a toxic cycle going to generation to generation to generation. You straight up tell your kids, hey, I love you. You are such a blessing to me from the Lord. But I am called to love your dad first. Okay, it's Jesus, your dad, then you guys, okay? And that's a healthy way to do it, because if I love your father and I'm pouring into my relationship with your dad, that's just gonna help all of us out. And it's honestly showing you guys how to love your spouses.
What's the word? They mimic what they see.
They do.
So, right? Because they don't know how to interact socially with how they see you interact with your spouse and other people and other situations and stressful situations. Kids are just going to mimic that. So if they see a healthy marriage and the way that God designed the family to be, they're going to do that with their kids.
Yeah.
And then they're going to do that with their kids. And it's going to, and you're, and you could have this generational, what do you want to call it? Curses, like these generational hindrances that you know, your grandparents were this, whatever. You can break that right now. Break that right now.
Yeah.
Surrender it, and you can change literally your family's lineage there on out, starting with you, which is kind of a crazy thing to...
So good.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be easy.
No, but it's always going to be worth it.
Always going to be worth it. Yep. So also think too, your children are a season, right? So you're pouring into them for a season. So 20 years later, the kids are gone and you're in the kitchen with a roommate that you barely know instead of your spouse that you treasure and love deeply. So what you resist the most is often what you need to hear the most, okay? So you didn't drift apart. You just centered your life around your kids, okay? So things that are good can become unhealthy if we don't steward them well. And the greatest gift you can give your children isn't a great childhood. It's a stronger marriage. It's to strengthen your marriage. So watch for the little foxes. Be alert and sober-minded. What you prioritize is what you value the most, okay?
Yeah, you say that all the time.
Yeah, so true. So just keep that in mind. And if this makes you feel uncomfortable, ask yourself why.
Yeah.
Right? So the vast majority of us weren't paying attention to the little foxes. So neglect actually slowly creeps in. Neglect feels slow, right? So the good news is it doesn't have to stay that way, right? See, when the walls come down, what are the walls? They're those boundaries. They protect. Your walls protect you, right? So when the walls come down, everything that wants to destroy your marriage, it walks right in, guys. You neglected the walls, like the verse in Proverbs, okay? So don't stop doing the things that you prioritize that made you intimate from the start. And we're not talking about sexual intimacy. We're talking, that is important as well, but we're also talking about an intimate, deep connection. And for you and I, we talked about this too. Honestly, this is very convicting for us because it is a busy season. It's a blessed season, but it is hard to prioritize one another, right? So what we like to do is we honestly just like laying in bed and reading together, right?
Yeah. Which we need to do more of.
Yeah. Or praying together, right? We try to
pray every day together.
Every day. If
you miss one, Pastor Craig says, if you miss one, don't miss two. Start small and stay consistent.
Yep. And sometimes we'll be honest, we're just so exhausted we do pass out. But don't stop doing what makes your marriage strong from the start, right? It could have been date nights for you quality timers. It could have been going on walks together. Whatever it is for you, find out the other person's love language and do it. Don't stop. So look back and see what you were doing from the start that you aren't doing now and rebuild the wall. Yeah. Yes, do it again.
That's the beautiful thing about the proverb. You can rebuild it. You're probably going to talk about that in a sec. So I jumped ahead, but
yeah. So again, Proverbs 24, 32, 31. I went past the fields of a sluggard, past the vineyard of someone who has no sense. They weren't preparing for their future. Thorns had come up everywhere. The ground was covered with weeds, and the stone wall was in ruins. Rebuild the stone wall. You don't drift because your marriage is weak. You drift because you stopped doing what made it strong. Okay? And he also said this, neglect the rest of the world if you have to. But
say that one. That's a beautiful quote. Say that twice.
Neglect the rest of the world if you have to, but never neglect each other. And the world is going to be grabbing you. What about me? What about me? And whatever it was, your work, I don't know, your home.
Anything.
Everything. The world's going to be vying for your attention.
You prioritize what you value.
Yes.
So
don't neglect your marriage. Don't do it, because a healthy marriage is a healthy family.
It's going to infiltrate everywhere. The stronger the marriage, the stronger the family. Keep it in mind.
Yep. So our pastor says he likes to go on walks a few times a week with his wife, right? It resets them and refreshes them, he said. So what's it for you, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone, that's what God made us all different. That's the beautiful thing.
It could be walks, it could be bike rides, it could be anything, reading, whatever.
Yep. So figure it out and do it. Make it a priority, because what you value, you prioritize. So if you neglected your relationship, it's not too late, guys. Don't build your life around your kids. Strengthen your marriage and love your kids as an overflow, right? You love your spouse so much. That's your person. That's your teammate. Wow, look at these cute little blessings that the Lord gave us. Let's tag team together, because let's be honest, single parenting, that's hard, right? And if you have a spouse, don't single parent.
Yeah.
Work together as a team, and it's going to show a healthy woman's perspective to your children and a healthy man's perspective to your children. We do not have that enough in society. The enemy's trying to split us apart. The woman needs to be strong. She needs to prove herself. No, you're women. You're not meant to do what men are called to do. And men, you're not meant to do what women are called to do. You work together. You're a teammate. You're stronger together, right? So keep building the wall, right? Keep on tending. It's not going to be easy,
but it's always going to be worth it.
Always. So Galatians 6:9 tells us, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. How good it will feel and how God-honoring it will be when we reap a harvest, because we're obedient to what God is calling us to do, and serving our spouse and laying down our lives and being selfless, right? So don't give up, stay consistent, and there is hope, right? Because vineyards can grow again, right? Even after the weeds and the thorns and the neglect, Jesus never stopped tending. When you drifted, when you stopped pursuing, did he stop pursuing you? No. He's the King of Kings, the beginning and the end, and the perfect example for us. And nothing you neglect can get better. So keep pursuing, and neglect the rest of the world if you have to, but never neglect your spouse. Right.
Yeah, it's so good. So that's the recap for week 2. Next episode, we're going to be doing it's going to be part 2 of this series. We're going to do 3, 4, and 5. It's a really good series, so just take notes, slow down, watch it again, go to YouTube and hear it right from Pastor Craig's mouth. He can do it way better than we can. We're just giving you the cliff notes. He's the OG, the boss, and we're just some little
just trying to be obedient to the Lord.
So as always, guys, the stronger the marriage,
the stronger the family.
And always remember, the best relationships are composed of two really, really good forgivers. God bless you guys.